Hey guys, Pronoballer 14 here, and I've had a couple questions recently on how to get better accuracy and some factors that help determine accuracy. There's a couple ways that you can improve your accuracy. First is obviously in the barrel, barrel length, bore size, all that determining stuff, the quality of the barrel, amount of porting versus not porting, all that stuff I'll go over. It also helps determine accuracy is your tank that you're using, specifically CO2 versus HPA. And then the last factor that determines accuracy is the way you hold your marker and the marker itself. So first we're going to go to barrels. There are many different types of barrels out here. Here you have a proto barrel. It's auto-cocker threaded. It's got 4 rows of porting, 11-inch, .689 bore. You got Tipman barrel, 9-inch, 8 rows of porting with a single row in the middle, 98 custom threads, and a .690 bore. Here you have the Piranha barrel. This has got 4 rows of spiraling porting. It's an 11-inch. It's spider threads and .693 bore. And here you got a spider barrel, which has got 3 rows of spiraling porting, spider threads, .692 boring, which is an uncommon bore, and it's a 10-inch. So we have a whole bunch of different size barrels here. And first thing that'll help determine your accuracy is your bore size. Bore size relatively means the size from the inside wall to inside wall across in your barrel. Common paintballs are supposed to be boring out at .689, and that's their diameter. But nowadays you see them anywhere from .681 to .693. .693 was a very common bore for people that like to overbore, but now it's getting so large because paint's starting to get smaller and smaller. So I personally like 689 because that's what paint should be at, but because it gives me a little bit of room for overboring, which is another factor. Overbore versus underbore. Statistics yet haven't proved that much difference in accuracy, but more in efficiency wise. Underboring means that the bore is going to either match or be a little bit smaller than the size of your paintball. This is going to increase your efficiency because now the gas is going to come by. It's going to give you more frequent feet per second around the same area, and it's going to give you it's going to be a little bit quieter. If you overbore, meaning you have some amount of space between the ball and the barrel, you're generally going to have and what a lot of people say is a more accurate shot, but you're going to have a little less efficiency, and it's going to be a little bit louder, and it's going to take away a little bit of kick, which shouldn't really matter. I'll put some duct tape on here, but anyways, so over versus under, I like to just stay at 689, and whatever I am, usually I'm over. So that's one factor. Length also changes it. Of course, if you have too long of a barrel, it's not going to be as accurate as a normal size barrel, but a normal size barrel is usually 12-inch, and that's a good size. It's pretty fairly accurate. 16 inches are a little bit more, but that's about the max for accuracy range. And then you can go down to 3 inches at the lowest, such as the SP1, and that has a little bit different accuracy. Next up, you have a 1-piece or 2-piece. I don't have any 2-piece barrels here, but basically a 2-piece barrel allows you to change the bore size of the barrel in the back instead of having different sized barrels. Again, overboring, underboring goes along with that. Next, we're going to go to tanks. A lot of people will disagree with me on if tanks affect accuracy because they don't physically touch the ball as a barrel or a marker bolt would. But they will affect your velocity, and if you have high gaps in velocity, such as 10 to 20 feet per second, you will be having a little bit different accuracy in between each shot, so it's going to be harder to plan where your shot's going to be. CO2 is very temperature sensitive. Um, it's also, because it's a very cold gas, the faster you shoot, the less pressure it will give out to the gun, which is why some guns will freeze up. Overall, CO2 is not a good idea because such in higher end guns or this mid end on the SLG, it will not work at all because it will freeze up the solenoid. CO2, you can't measure how much gas is in there, so during the day it will go down and you won't know it. The only way to really tell if a CO2 cylinder is empty is by the weight, because there will be not as much liquid in there. And with that being said, because there is filled with liquid instead of high pressure gas, changes in temperature throughout the day will cause increasing or decreasing velocity, which could change your, which will change the rate of fire and possibly change the distance the ball goes. Now, when you have like something like this, a high pressure air system, your pressure is going to remain constant throughout the day, saying that you have relatively enough pressure in the tank to support the gun. You'll know how much pressure you have in the tank through the gauge, and it's also very easy to fill through the fill port. HPA tanks are really nice to have because they will not freeze up your marker, and like I said again, changes in heat will not change the velocity with the tanks. They have regulators on it to regulate the pressure from the tank into the gun down to from about 800 psi or 3000 at the here. This will put it down to about 800. The regulator in the gun, the Hyper 3 will specifically put it down to 135, and that's enough to shoot the ball. So CO2 to HPA, CO2 is better, and it will also help your accuracy. Next up, we have your marker. Markers will affect accuracy in a couple different ways. One, how you hold it. I'll get to that in a second. Two, spoolies versus poppets. Truthfully, there has been no difference accuracy-wise that I've seen between them, but I have seen some factors between it that could change up your velocity. One is in say a poppet valve, which has considerably more kick than a spool valve gun. The poppet valve is going to have more kick, so it's going to push the gun up more, and it's going to change your accuracy over a few shots. Whereas a spool valve gun, it has very little kick, so it's going to barely have any barrel rise in between each shot. So, I mean, paintball guns don't have much kick, but definitely just that couple inches of barrel rise between it could possibly lead to changes in accuracy. The next thing that can change your accuracy is the way you hold this gun. I see a lot of new players shoot from like the collarbone area, basically in the neck bone, the breastbone. They shoot from there, or they shoot from a stock off to the side. That's not going to give you relative accuracy until you shoot about 5 balls and see where your stream's going, and then adjust there. Whereas if you have it, the bat cap aligned with your nose, which will basically be your aim of sight, this allows you, for where you're looking, the ball to go straight out. Because the bat cap's in line with the barrel, hopefully, which all guns they really are unless it's broken. Bat cap in line with the nose, it's going to allow me to look straight down my barrel, and say if I want to shoot my practice dummy down there, I just look, pull the trigger, and it goes right at him. Whereas if I have this, I'm going to shoot a little lower than what I'm seeing. So I can look down, follow with my nose, and I'm seeing what I'm shooting. As long as I'm looking directly at that object, and this is perfectly in line with my nose, it will be accurate and shoot where I want it to go. Looks like I'm coming up near the end of my 10-minute mark, so I'm just going to wrap this up with a little review of what we talked about. So first factor that determines your barrel, or your accuracy, sorry, is your barrel. Barrel length, underbore, overbore, the quality of the barrel. Some carbon fiber barrels will shoot better than something like this metal barrel. It's a cheapy one. One thing I forgot is porting. The amount of porting will help affect accuracy by letting gas expand out as it goes. No porting is going to be louder but a little less accurate. More porting is going to be quieter and a little bit more accurate. Barrel length will help determine it. And then you have your tank CO2 versus HPA. CO2 will be a lot better on accuracy. And then the way that you hold the gun, also spool versus poppit. So this is Protoball 14. Please subscribe. Have any questions, comments, ask them. Thank you.